Puss in Boots. Once upon time, a miller was on his deathbed, and he had very little to leave his 3 sons as an inheritance: a mill, a donkey, and a cat. His eldest son took the mill, his middle son the donkey, and his youngest son got the cat. The miller's youngest son grieved for a long time, thinking he had received such a small inheritance.
My brothers,
he thought,
by working together, can do honest work and eat. But I, unfortunately, with only this cat, will die of hunger.
The cat, hearing all this, but pretending as if he had not, said to his new master in a grave and serious tone,
"Don't grieve, master. Give me a sack instead, and order me a pair of boots so that I can walk over the dirt and through the bramble without hurting my feet. Then you will see that I am not as bad an inheritance as you think."
The young master didn't expect much from his new cat. Nonetheless, he knew the cat was quite clever at catching mice. Knowing how cunning the cat was, he thought that perhaps the cat would really help him get past his misfortune. When the cat was given what he requested, he gallantly put on his boots, hung the bag around his neck, and went into the forest, where there were many rabbits. The cat put bran and grass in the bag, stretched out as if dead, and waited for some young rabbit to stick his head into the bag to eat the bait put in it. As soon as he laid down, a young rabbit jumped into the bag. The cat immediately tightened the strings and closed him in. To celebrate his victory, the cat immediately went to the king. The cat was let into his majesty's chambers. Upon entering, he bowed low to the king and said,
"Here, Majesty, is a rabbit. My master Lord Marquis of Carabas has charged me to bring you this rabbit as a present."
"Tell your master,"
the king answered,
"that I thank him and am very pleased."
On another occasion, the cat hid in the wheat, again with his bag. When 2 partridges came in, he pulled the strings and caught them both. Then he carried them to the king, just as he had carried the rabbit. The king accepted the partridges graciously. In this way, the cat carried game to the king in the name of his master for 2 or 3 months. On one of his visits, he overheard that the king was going to ride along the riverbank with his daughter, the prettiest princess in the world. The cat urgently went to his master and said,
"If you listen to my advice, you will be happy forever. Go bathe in this place along the river bank, and don't worry about the rest."
Marquis Carabas followed the cat's instructions, although he didn't understand why it was necessary, and went bathing in the river. As the king was passing by, suddenly the cat cried out,
"Help! Help! Lord Marquis of Carabas is drowning."
The king stuck his head out of the carriage at the cry, and recognizing the cat, who had brought him game so many times, ordered his servants to quickly run to help Lord Marquis of Carabas. While the poor Marquis was being pulled out of the river, the cat came up to the carriage and reported to the king that while his master was bathing, thieves had taken away his clothes. When actually, it was the cat that hid his clothes under a large stone. The king immediately ordered his servants to bring Lord Marquis of Carabas his best suit, and offered him to ride in his carriage. The cat, happy his scheme was making good progress, ran ahead. He came across some peasants shearing a meadow. The cat said to them,
"Hey, peasants! If you don't tell the king that this meadow belongs to the Marquis of Carabas, then watch out, I'll grind you all to dust."
As the king passed the meadow, he asked the peasants who it belonged to.
Marquis Carabas.
They answered in one voice. The cat's threat had frightened them. The cat kept running ahead of the king's carriage. He met some more people harvesting and said to them,
"Hey, you peasants! If you don't tell the king that all this grain belongs to the Marquis of Carabas, watch out, I'll grind you all to dust."
The king, riding by some time later, asked the harvesters who owned all the grain in this field.
Marquis Carabas.
They all answered. Both the king and Marquis were very impressed. The cat kept running ahead of the carriage, promising to mete out the same punishment to anyone giving an incorrect answer. The king was amazed at the enormous fortune of Marquis Carabas. At last, the cat came running to a beautiful castle belonging to an ogre. who possessed riches never seen before. The cat, who had first made inquiries about who this ogre was, asked permission to introduce himself, saying that he did not dare pass by the castle without coming to bow to him. The ogre received the cat as politely as only an ogre could, and invited him to sit down.
They say,
said the cat to him,
that you can turn into different animals, that you can, for example, become a lion or an elephant.
That's true,
answered the ogre in a low, rough voice.
I will show you now.
The cat was so frightened, seeing the lion before him, that he immediately ran up onto the roof, with great difficulty and danger because of his boots. For boots are very uncomfortable to walk on tiles with. When the ogre assumed natural form, the cat came down from the roof and confessed that he was in great fear. The cat spoke again.
They also say, but I do not believe it, that you can turn into the smallest animals. For example, you can become a rat or a mouse. Frankly, I think it is impossible.
Impossible?
Cried the ogre.
But you will see.
And at that very moment he turned into a mouse. As soon as the cat saw it, he immediately rushed at the mouse and ate it. Meanwhile, the king had just arrived at the castle with his beautiful daughter. The cat heard the clatter of horses' hooves and ran out to meet them. He said to the king,
Welcome, your majesty, to the castle of Marquis of Carabas.
What, the Marquis?
Cried the king.
And this castle belongs to you? Nothing could be more beautiful than the courtyard and buildings. Let us look at the rooms, if you allow us.
The Marquis gave the young princess his hand and followed the king, who walked ahead. In the great hall, a magnificent feast was waiting for them. It was prepared earlier by the ogre for his friends, who were going to visit him that very day, but they did not dare to enter, having learned that the king was in the castle. The king was charmed by the kindness of Marquis Carabas. And the princess found him charming as well. After eating and resting, and seeing what immeasurable wealth the Marquis possessed, the king suddenly proposed.
Lord Marquis, would you like to marry my daughter?
The Marquis, of course, agreed to such a great honor and married the princess that very day. The cat lived with them in great luxury, and no longer caught mice regularly, just on occasion for fun.
Please subscribe to the Magic Stories channel. Like and click the bell